All right. Yay, Gem! We're live. Wake up, Gems. Wake up, Gems. It is the first episode of Citizen Glitch. Okay, so Hidden Gems, thank you so much for being here today. I'm just gonna sing a little bit before we get going, and then we're gonna kind of like describe why we just felt the need to do this today. But at this point, I don't even know if it's a why anymore. I'm just doing what the fuck I'm supposed to, just like you. All right, here we go. Ooh. Oh, wait, I'm Rita Lark, by the way, in case you don't know. All right, here we go. What does the frog have to say to that, Hidden Gems? I can't hear you.
Ribbit.
Ribbit. Okay. Oh, wait. Let me get you off the Discord. I mean, it sounds cryptic as fuck, but we're on a Discord call too. And yeah, so I'm hearing you echo. I kind of like these cryptic vibes. Do you feel like it sounds cool with you echoing today, like a frog should?
Absolutely. You know, you got to hear it twice to let it register in the mind.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, we do have Thurston Waffles who wanted to join the stream today. We've got Kevin. We've got a couple of other people. Guys, if you are having any trouble, just, send me a link or send me a message. I already sent you the link. I mean, it should work. I mean, we've got Gems on stage. We've got 8 more spots today for you guys because, yay, StreamYard. Okay. And no, I don't work for StreamYard. I don't have anything to say about that. But let's get to like why we had to get to this topic today, which our topic is, it is about like sovereignty. We want to talk about the emotional aspect of that. What happened in your life in particular that made you realize you weren't acting in a sovereign way, and what made you realize you really had to, otherwise you were going to be fucked. But Gem, he asked me actually to lead this because I'm American and he's Canadian. And I said, when do you want to be our 51st state? When are you going to be our bitch? And what did you say today, Gem?
We already are. We already have been for a long time. And everyone doesn't want to admit it, but me and Red here, one in the States, one in Canada, and we're both saying it.
You're kind of cutting in and out a little bit, your audio.
Well, we're both, one's American, one's Canadian.
Yes.
And I think we're both American here, Red.
You're American now. You're American?
No,
I'm gonna take you off the Discord. I think it's fucking with the audio just as okay, but you can hear me just fine. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. I look at my status card and then I look at my government issued ID and they say 2 different things. I have a certificate of Indian status on one and I have a certificate of Canadian citizenship on one. And one gets me into the States where I have dual citizenship. And then one says I can only be Canadian. So, you tell me at the end of the day, right?
No, but I mean, I think part of the reason, we got to this point and talking about sovereignty and this and that is because, I mean, sovereignty is really connected to all of the other values that really matter to Gem. And then he realized, oh, wait, he wants to be American. That's kind of like what happened, right? Because sovereignty, it's connected to, privacy, security, liberty, freedom, freedom of speech, in other words. And it's like, oh yeah, like what America's supposed to be when we follow the Constitution. What a concept. Because the reality is, y'all, we don't actually. What's up, Chet? Welcome to the stream. We're doing one of my favorite things, which is making fun of Canadians.
You got him here this time.
Yeah, and he has no problem with it. But basically, all of these values come down to what America was supposed to be, and we don't always act that way. We really don't. Yes, exactly. Lincoln sold us out, right? But you know, when we actually follow our Constitution, it's amazing. Okay. And so Jem and I, we wanted to come together to, you know, bring people together who still care about these values. And, you know, and of course, we're going to obviously, you know, branch into things that have to do with the values, but the values come first. And the values reflect things like what happened with Afro Man a couple of weeks ago. And how, but that was a time when we didn't ignore the First Amendment and it won. Right? Was that significant for you, Jem? Was that one of the things that made you be like, I need to be American now?
You know, it all starts with exactly what the founding fathers did, colonization. You know, it's just like you guys keep recolonizing yourself and reinventing America and redoing the Constitution over and over and over again until, you know, one of y'all hops on. But like it's very much, they just don't want to admit they want to be sovereign, but they want to be American. They want to be a little bit of everything. That's kind of hard to do when, you know, everyone's has their tail in between their legs and is scared, except me and you. I don't got a tail, I got a frog.
Yeah, no, to be fair, like I have, you know, spent too much of my life living in fear, even though I used to say, oh, I'm so like, I don't have no regrets. And I still don't, because I had to learn that, you know, I had to learn what it really meant to be fucked in the ass as many times as I have been, for me to be like, you know what, like I need to be sovereign, really, because everything does kind of like, it kind of starts with that. Right. So if we're going to talk about when did you like, now we're going back to like what we were going back to before, but all of the values are connected to sovereignty. Yeah, you do have regret when you're attached to something. Chet DePaul there. I mean, she's not wrong, right? You definitely do have. Okay, so Waffles, he just DM'd me. He's trying to get in to the stage. Let me and he had a lot to say about this topic when we just chatted, like, just a couple of days ago. I had a wonderful conversation with him. Let me make sure he's able to get in.
See, it's all about what people envision when they say sovereign. You know, it's all about what they envision. I find
it's not just the words, right? So tell me about like what you envision, because you have quite an interesting background. Like you were like literally forced into sovereignty. Do you mind telling the people here a little bit about like where you're at? Like, no, you're not just my favorite Canadian to make fun of today. You know, I mean, let's give the folks a little bit more of a background.
So I'm Hidden Gems, or Nicholas Paul. I am from St. Mary's Indigenous Reservation, Devon Indian Reserve 30, aka I'm from New Brunswick, Canada. Another way of saying it. I was put into group homes at 11. I struggle with ODD and autism and a bunch of different neurodivergent disorders. I was in group homes for about 7 years of my life, and for a good 7 years of those life, I completely rejected everything around me. Partly probably due to the ODD that helped me out, but I found every time I got sent to school, or they tried to force me into school or get me out of that group home, or I always rejected it. And I tried going to school. And then I ran into this man named Sean Smith. And he works with a brand called Don't Diss My Ability, who reaches out to these kids in group homes. Now, me not knowing what's up.
I'm trying to understand. You met someone in the group home that works with folks on the spectrum? I'm just trying to understand here, John.
So his name's Sean Smith, and he has a brand, Don't Diss My Ability.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if you're not close enough to the computer.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah! Carry on.
So he reaches out to these kids, and he'll reach out to the workers and the social workers and all the parentals and the people in need. and plan a one-on-one meeting with these kids. And he will say I wanted to be a rapper. That's originally what I wanted to be. So he got a bunch of music artists and song producers and rappers to sit there and listen to me freestyle for an hour a day, just kind of like a form of therapy almost. And essentially trying to find skills that obviously at the time I didn't want to do anything with school. I didn't want to work a job. I didn't want to go into trades. I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to be a rapper in that time. So he got a proposal set up. He'll help these kids find the money and get them little starting funds. He helped me get my microphone, a keyboard. I got my everything all set up, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna be a painter. And
wait,
so
where did this come from? I'm gonna be a painter. I mean, like, how were you
know,
thinking? Whoa, I'm sorry. Carry on.
you know, when you asked that, Red, why I wanted to be a painter, it kind of linked to the song. I didn't realize I wanted to be a rapper at first because I thought it was Little Nicholas, thought it was fun, cool. I wanted to sing. 11-year-old Nick had a lot of dreams and still does, and has no regrets beyond it. But when I thought of art,
Oh wait, sorry. He said somebody said they were trying to get on the stage and I wasn't allowing them, and now I feel silly. Okay. Now he said he's hanging out backstage. Well, I mean, like, I should tell him to enter.
I bring him up on the stage.
No,
give him that pass.
for some reason, Discord is like not sending my messages to him, and I don't see him. He's trying to get on stage here. It usually shows me a message when people, like when you came on, it showed me a message that you were trying to get on stage. So I don't know why I don't see him. You know what? Let's just call him right now and just see what the fuck is going on. Because I want to make sure that he's able to be on here. I love Thurston. He's amazing. I was checking
him out all day, and honestly, I'm in love with his cats just as much as mine.
Okay, sorry. It says, okay, well, I'm trying to call him. I don't know what's going on with Discord right now, to be honest with you. I mean, I can't send the message.
You can make a group chat. We can make a group chat.
We will when people want to join the stream in the future, so I don't have to keep sending it to 50 million people. But this is the first time I've streamed in like months, as you know. So let me just try and like DM it to him because Discord is fucking up. Carry on, and I'll listen to you while I'm fixing this problem.
So once Sean and I kind of got a grip on what I was kind of wanted to do, which was kind of exactly what I'm doing now, art, retail sale, and e-commerce. And so he taught me how to hydro dip. So that was the first form of art. And kind of to answer your question on why was I switched to art, because for me, art and singing are the same thing. It's the same. You can, I can draw fancy letters on a painting of an entire song and express how each lyric made me feel. Or I can draw a bunch of frogs or a bunch of different creators on X and kind of like, instead of singing it and leaving my voice in the moment or recording it, it was more like I could have it sit there permanently. Have my message stay there. So, and the more and more I realized, the more painting I did, the more I realized there's not really a lot of indigenous artists left. And there's not a lot of kind of, well, you know much about indigenous is we're big on sovereignty, big on sovereign pride, big on sovereign culture.
Because you're an Indian.
Yep, because I'm an Indian.
Sorry. That sounds so offensive. Like
you
I'm an American trying to colonize you or something.
Honestly, I felt the shiver in my veins when you said it. You said with that triumph.
This whole thing is really just
it's just really just a ploy to get me right back in the circle to start painting for Red Alert in LA. Just gonna keep me in a little cage down there.
No.
That's why I got my every matters.
Okay, so you just felt like you didn't have any like identity. You felt like people were just trying to like. So what you're saying is that art essentially gave you a sense of sovereignty, because what sovereignty means to you is having some choice, some autonomy over your choices, over your energy, over your money. And you felt like art was really the first way to express yourself in that way, to be clear.
Exactly. And the best part about art with that is that I can give away my paintings. It costs me nothing to make them other than the materials after you get a good stock. Or I could sell them how I am now. Or I could do things just like the shirt I'm wearing. I designed and made this shirt. Every child matters. And kind of, you can put art on anything. And it's, when you go into every city, the one place you look for is when you're on as a tourist is looking for the art, the architecture, the stories, the people, and all of that's kind of just related into one. I find.
I'm sorry, with what?
Related into one, I find with me is like the architecture, the people, the art, the street art, and everything that's related to it. And when you see a long-haired, tiny, short, sideways, metal spine native man walking down the road, painting, it makes you think. I don't know, because I find I can do my indigenous painting just however I want and do professionalism. I could do art like how I did in the past with you, Red. Or I can just straight up paint a frog, sit back and paint as many frogs as I want for no other reason than they're just. It doesn't have to have a reason, and if I wanna, then let's say I painted a frog because I wanted to paint a frog, and my frog is my frog. That's it. But if I were to sing that, but I also did a variety of other things as well. I tried to take the keeper of, kind of like how you say it, jack of all trades, keeper of none, not master of none, keeper of all, or something.
Okay, like but that would literally, Jen, like that's just scratching the surface.
That is very well scratching.
And the reason why I'm going to say that, and I'm calling you out on it, and why we're going to take this discussion further. Chet is wondering, what is the topic of our conversation today? The topic is, what does sovereignty mean to you in your life? And what are the things that happened that made you realize you needed to learn how to be more sovereign, right?
The first thing that made me realize that, Red, is in being in the group homes, seeing the past. I've met thousands of people being in those homes. I would never have the same worker ever twice in a row. And what scared me the most is that these workers were telling me to go to school, to do this. Obviously, if I was an adult telling a kid to go to school, that would be my first thing, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I would see it was just a bunch of college kids taking care of me, and that wasn't what worried me. What worried me is that every time they had the same story, the same path, the same routine, the same thing. And I noticed it at 12, and the more I kind of went into it, I started right around when COVID hit. I started when the colleges decided we're doing online. That's when I started to realize, around at least in New Brunswick, workers around here I've met, someone would be going to St. Thomas University or New Brunswick Community College, and all these different colleges, and they would all be different professors, different places, different times, and they would all be identical, the same script, the same book. And it's not to blame, like there's functionality in life, but like, another thing that can, as the years went on, and like I was a big gamer, I still am. I started to keep up with the tech, and I noticed, well, like everyone else, AI was taking over, so
yeah.
The first ones were computer engineers. I noticed a lot of coders started to not get replaced, but integrated with AI. And that was the weirdest part. So when it came to like just sovereignty and just finding it, I was like, I'm not doing that. For me, it's freedom.
It's all connected. Like, that's just the thing. I knew if we started this conversation about sovereignty, you can't talk about sovereignty without connecting it to liberty, to freedom, to security, to privacy, to the pursuit of happiness, basically American.
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 Make America great again.
I feel like that's, I mean, like, I know why that's kind of like a triggering statement for some people because, you know, where they lie politically. But like, I don't know, for me, I like to kind of say, make America America again. I know that some people are offended by that, but it's just like, you know, like when we actually used to follow the Constitution all the time, which we don't. We don't do it all the time. But when we do, as was said by a young boy in South Africa to me, when you guys do follow it, it's amazing. And you have a constitution, so we're jealous of it. But I mean, these values, I mean, they're all like human rights. But it was these human rights that led us into these various, you know, pursuits in our life. But, you know, living in a sovereign way and being able to have like, you know, autonomy over your choices, your energy, your body, you know, all these things, like you can't really talk about that without also talking about, well, how am I going to be more responsible technologically? How am I going to differentiate myself, you know, financially in different pursuits? I mean, and it's very nuanced. I mean, the other day, Joel Valenzuela, who is one of my influences, Jem, you know, I have a lot of influences, you know, he did a list of all his sovereignty tools. He literally like tweeted them, you know, and it was tools that also included privacy, like Signal, all the stuff he uses for, you know, financial. I don't have it memorized, but you know what? That probably would have been a good thing to add to our stream today. And yes, one of the things that you said actually reminds me of another thing that he tweeted. When you said the reason why you started your sovereignty journey with art was because it was something that you wanted to do yourself. That rings with something. Oh God, yeah. Chet says, you know, the original Constitution was replaced by the USA Corporation Constitution. That's hilarious, Chet. But he said basically in so many words, and I may be quoting him a little bit wrong, but that's okay. I mean, he's in Miami right now, not here to defend himself. But he said, if there is not a DIY method, guess what? It's not decentralized. Now, we haven't even talked about what decentralization is, but whoa, we're not there yet, because we can't even talk about really what decentralization is without establishing these core values first. You know, I mean, like, I think, you know, decentralization is kind of like a modern word in you know, kind of to describe what all these things are that we were talking about. And obviously there's levels to it. And, you know, it's a spectrum, just like autism, Jem, just like we're on the spectrum. Autism spectrum. But when you said, hey, that you wanted something where you could just do it yourself, that's what made me think, you know, of that. And like, but we don't, I mean, but ultimately we don't want to have systems where somebody else has completely all of the power. That's why we have the American Constitution, because everyone should have some basic human rights. Damn, I'm really just hammering you today with the, you know, Canada's not a real country and you guys are censored as fuck bullshit today, aren't I, Jem?
I mean, Canada copy and pastes what the U.S. posts on news, essentially.
I'm sorry.
Canada basically just copy and pastes what the American news sources post, and then add their own little spark to it. Their own little frog.
Wait, does the frog want to say ribbit to that?
The frog is showing some turtle truth right now.
Oh, okay.
It's got a giant nicotine bar. Now, you know, I find, like, even on X, you'll notice the pattern. Like the Canadian news networks, right after Trump or the White House posts or news something, it's literally identical. Now, who else does that? New York Times, the different Washington Post. They do that exact same thing. So if we really think about it, like, isn't that just Canadian? That's just American news. And like, when you have these little sources, these frogs, these gems, these people posting what they're seeing, like there's this really cool reporter named Kamala on X, and she posts.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
There's this really cool reporter named Kamala on X, and she's a lawyer, political satire journalist, and she's on boots on the ground, right? And every day she's posting these massive protests that are been happening all over the country since 2024 on a daily basis. Now, a lot of people, you've probably heard about them a few times. Those are the exact ones.
What?
The exact protests you've heard about for pretty much Israel, Iran, and pretty much anything else connected to those groups has always been connected to the American system. Now, it might be in Toronto, Canada, right? It might be downtown. And you know, I had to go there myself.
You had to go to Toronto?
Yeah, I flew there to Toronto on a little vacation just to see, you know, and me and my family, we followed Kamala all around the city.
Okay,
And it was these organized, because in Canada there's very, very limited protesting laws. Like it's very hard to, you can't really just grab a megaphone and go outside with a sign and start blaring as much as you really can in America. Like I'm pretty sure if you did that here, you get a fine unless you had a permission to go there first. You had a reason, good enough reason to go there. It's like you have to ask to be free. You have to you have to ask for everything, and then like it's kind of ironic in care.
Oh wait, permission?
Permission.
Asking
not permission.
For permission?
It's not permission. We're just asking for their opinion that they have control over, rather if we can do it or not. Definitely not permission. And when I would put in proposals to these social workers, and I would ask for these social workers to change things about my life, my house, and my routine, I started to look into how you post, how you have to follow rules of guidance, and the censorship. Oh, I can't just
wait. There's censorship in Canada. Look, we've got an American right here in the chat. Chat to Paul saying, "There's no critical thinking in Canada. You live in a socialist state." Oh, he knows. That's why he wants to be American.
Yes, and technically, I'm both. If we really look into it, Indigenous peoples, American and Canadian, both have full citizenship in the U.S. and Canada.
You're dual citizen, and all this time I've been like telling you that you're like the 51st state.
I'm cooler than you, I guess. I don't know how else to say it.
Censorship area, though. You were saying like, okay, and like we can't also talk about sovereignty without censorship, right? Because you know, isn't part of the censorship, isn't that a huge reason why you wanted to have more sovereignty? Because when people are censoring you, that's taking control. That's trying to take away your sovereignty. And you were telling me that the censorship in Canada is unreal. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and let everyone on the stream know about how much you love censorship in Canada?
So it really depends on where you want to go in depth. We can go in depth on the advertising, the way you can put your message out there in general on it. Like, not to say that
we're hearing from the audience that they're having trouble hearing you. Like the sound keeps going in and out. I don't know if it's because of your microphone or I don't know why, but your sound is going in and out. I thought it was just me, but now we got someone in the audience letting me know it's not just me. I am insane, but I'm not insane in this instance.
We're both insane.
Oh my God, did the sound just get way better? Can you hear Hidden Gems a lot better, chat? Let us know in the chat, in the comments.
I turned on the magic software.
And you all can hear me just fine because I'm a loud kind of person. Okay, but carry on.
So, I mean, it very well, right now it's voting time. Actually.
In Canada?
Yeah, there's for mayors and sectors of the province in the cities, like just a regional. And
how would you know that? You were complaining to me that everything in Canada is so censored.
It's just like it's just the same 5 people on the signs I've seen for the past 5 years.
What?
There's new people.
Do you mean there's more people to vote for, but they're actually censoring your voting choices? Is that what you're indicating here, Jem?
Not. Well, they won't say it like that. And we can't say it like that either because on paper it's not written like that.
Okay.
Right. But when we look at it from a bird's eye view, from the edge of the pond, it's very well. We have Luke Randall, which is a very well in New Brunswick Fredericton. We have Stephen Hicks. And you know what? Those are two good ones to start with. They've done a good example of showing what you can do when you do it in a sovereign way, right? And not to say I don't really look into politics other than the AI and what Grunk tells me and what
you are
I
so
learned.
bullshit. You do look into politics.
I look into it, but like when I'm seeing when blockchains are being affected and where money's going, and if the import prices of Funko Pops will be going up at Hot Topic, and if because there's
I'm having trouble with your audio again. I don't know what the
again.
Yeah.
Okay, we should be good now.
Okay, that's good. Carry on.
So, I mostly look into it, politics, when I want to see when global economics are affected.
Okay.
Just like most people. And as you know, Red, I've built hundreds of different little prompt packet AIs about this. And the best way I can put it down is Toronto is doing it right with the politics Kamala. I mean, I'll actually link her to below the post for you.
You can. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I find it very difficult to look at the stream and try to tweet at the same time. Even though I was trying to get Thurston earlier, I don't know. He's probably just having technical issues. But I tried to message him on Twitter as well, but he's probably just having issues right now, and that's fine. It happens.
It
but
does.
I try not to tweet too much, like while we're streaming. One of the things I fucking hate about Twitch. Sorry, we're going off topic for just a second. Wait. I'm not sorry for anything. I'm American. Okay. But like I find it super distracting when people are like going, hey chat every second and not talking to the person, I mean, like if there's someone on stage like you, not paying attention to them. So I find it like if I'm just yapping too much to people in the comments, then I'm not listening to you like I should. So that's why I try not to do it like too much. But carry on.
It's very we're gonna finish on the political. It's very well to. It's kind of like citizenship for everything in Canada. So there's a process for everything. America is very 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5 step processes. You guys keep it very step minimal. I'm not sure if it's because y'all are a little slower or really, really smarter, but it works the majority of the time. But rather, if you are, let's say, signing up for disability or signing your kid into a school program or becoming a politician or becoming a mayor, you're constantly almost being forced to follow these guidelines just like you do on X. Actually, X does a pretty good job at being sovereign-ish most of the time. But, Red, I want to know your views from Americans' perspective, from what you've seen, because they don't know everything we've fully talked about, all of those files, and we'll get to all that. But I want to kind of hear more. Let them know.
Okay, and cheers. And he said he's still having problems getting, and I'm just letting him know, like, you know what, we'll just do a little test before next time. And still, my messages from StreamYard, my messages to him are still not sending. It's really wild. So I'll just tell him that we'll just deal with this next time. Like, we'll just, I don't know why it's having issues, but anyhow.
I wonder if you send them the same link.
I just did, but like, it's like Discord, it's like not sending. And I've never had like consistent issues like this with Discord. So I don't know like why it's doing that. I'll copy the message. I'll try to DM it to him one more time. And I'm getting messages from him, which is wild. And then they disappear. Yeah, I'll just share with you. I think I can share with you. No, I don't. You know, I've sent him the link, Jem. You don't need to like send him the link. I'll follow up with him later, and we'll kind of fix whatever issues for next time, because he actually had some totally different perspectives when he and I spoke just yesterday prior to the stream about why sovereignty was important to him and to myself, and it really didn't have a whole lot to do with being American.
It doesn't. It really, just gotta be a person.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you're a person first before anything else, and we lose a lot of that when, I mean, a lot of people have lost a lot of that, you know. I mean, but it's not everyone that's that way, but that's why we're here, to speak to the people who genuinely care about the values and who are not just trying to use it as, you know, marketing bullshit to get people to buy their stuff and then extract the living fuck out of them, right? Which, you know what, I guess we'll just talk a little bit about, like, kind of like, you know, he and I kind of had to get to this place of sovereignty being extremely important with similar experiences in the Web3 space. And by Web3, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, that's blockchain, which it's the past, it's the present, it's the future. It's not a scam. You know, yes, there are scammy people in blockchain, just like there's scams everywhere, but no more there's been way more scams in the name of the good old dollar than any other crypto, y'all. So, but I mean, that's like a whole nother thing. But he, you know, when we were talking, like, the whole thing with, you know, certain people in the blockchain space, and for myself, just people in general, too many experiences where too much of your choices, your energy is tied to someone else. And that if somehow they die or they screw you over, then you're screwed, right? And, you know, we were talking about with Web3 in particular, everybody's always like screaming, collaboration, collaboration. Except what they're really saying a lot of times is extraction, extraction.
Rug pull.
I mean, it's just like, and even a lot of times when there's like a multi-sig wallet and, you know, multi-signatures, for those of you who don't know, it's like all it takes is for one person to ruin the whole thing. And it's like they're all like tied together and things just go nuts. But like, collaboration doesn't have to be a bad thing, but like people should have some sovereignty in what they're doing. And you and I talked about this. You have the brand that you represent, which is BBWCM. I am Retta Lark. The name of this series is called Citizen Glitch, intentionally. Yes, I am Citizen Glitch, but so is him. So is you, Hidden. So is everybody who really wants to be like a sovereign citizen, a free citizen who wants to, you know, who notices the glitches in the system and who wants to be able to adapt and to live in a more, you know, in a free and sovereign way, right? Because I don't think that collaboration is a bad thing, but there has to be a point, you know, with your finances as part of it, where you are that you have your own thing going, regardless of what happens to someone else. I'm not saying that at a certain point, you know, when you're scaling enough, you're not going to have a team and actually have some humans working with you, not just an AI co-founder. Like right now, my co-founder is AI. But
the strongest type of founder, by the way.
What?
AI is single-handedly the strongest founder.
I love my AI founders. They're amazing, or my AI co-founders. But like I got to a point where I got fucked over financially, not just once, not just twice, but multiple times. And I don't know why it took so many times for me to realize, don't depend on just another partner, don't depend on just a job, don't depend on just one source of income. But like there's just multiple things that kind of got me to that point. And yes, one of them was like feeling really upset by, you know, a partnership that had gone bad where I was co-founder with two different people in the Web3 space, where everything was so tied to them. And I was like, wait a second, this isn't sovereign. Like everything I do is tied to you. Exactly. Like Chet was saying, you have to be able to make things happen to yourself. So I love to be able to collaborate with people, but Jem, you have your own brand. I have my own brand, right? I started selling my first digital product, which you can purchase on Gumroad, which is those the AI prompt packs for solopreneurs, all kinds of different solopreneurs. You could be a beta tester, but regardless, like you just need to be able to send, you know, more focused messages to people to be able to get them to want to follow up with you. And I did use a system where, by the grace of God Mode AI, by the wonderful Pliny the Liberator, who is liberating. And we'll talk a little bit about Pliny more in a minute, because he's one of my huge heroes, as you know. And so these have been benchmarked, and they've been tested and ran through like 55 different AI models. But I wanted to start out with something that I wouldn't need a co-founder for. I wanted to start out with something like, except for AI, right? I wanted to start out with something that it's just mine and nobody else is going to be part of that. I wanted to start out with something that I don't have to vibe code, although, you know, I'm still working on vibe coding something right now. But I was like, okay, I just need to start out with something simple, something that I don't have to refund people, something where I don't need a lot of capital, something where I don't have to ship things and I don't have to pay for like overhead, something where I don't even have to set up an LLC just to be a seller. I was just like, I need to start simple, because before all of these incidents happened, sure, I've done independent contractor work. I still do independent contractor work from time to time, but I was like, wait a second, I'm still the little bitch for all of these companies, like all of these companies that I'm still doing.
You're the ex-ambassador. You're not the little bitch. You're the ex-ambassador.
Right. I'm the ambassador. No, you're right, because some of the companies that I'm an ambassador for, I really love the stuff that we're doing. But I actually feel like as I am able to continue to expand my brand and just my own sovereignty, I'm going to be a better partner and collaborator for them. One of the companies that I'm so thrilled to be an ambassador for is Tripo AI. They've never treated me bad. As a matter of fact, they're like, we're so happy with you. We're sending you a gift, you know, which is great.
I need to send you a frog. That's what I need.
Yeah, maybe you should be sending me a frog. But the point is that as I'm able to establish more things and get better with my own sovereignty, I will actually have more to offer to Tripo AI or anyone. But if I'm just like, oh, I'm just an ambassador, or oh, I'm your little employee, or this and that, it's like I'm literally like depending on you to make a paycheck happen for me. Whereas like, what if I get stronger in what I'm able to offer to you, so I can be truly strong and truly sovereign and actually benefit you more? Because now we're benefiting each other mutually, instead of just like, oh, and I'm an ambassador doing this, or I'm an ambassador doing that. It's like, no, I mean, I can bring you this and you bring me that, and we help each other. Like mutual benefit is the best, but mutual benefit doesn't really exist without, establishing like real financial, sovereignty. But there was a lot of things that got me to this point, Jem. It wasn't just like one bad incident. It was like I had to get knocked in the head to the point where life just brought me to my knees. It wasn't just like one bad incident. It wasn't just the two things that went sour with the two co-founders that I worked with in the crypto space. I mean, like, I don't know, let's get comical about it and then I'll stop yapping. But you did ask, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, was it the time where I had to leave the public teaching profession as a music teacher, and where I was advised to grovel for that stupid job and say and apologize for something I never did. And then end up just realizing that like this was actually starting to cause health problems, which I don't need to speak about live, that were so bad that I was like looking some of this stuff up online, and it was like, hey, if you keep experiencing X, Y, and Z, you should probably visit a hospital. And I was like, this is just not worth it anymore. I left the profession entirely. And that was heartbreaking. You'd think that would have been enough, right? The kids at the end, they even said to me, Ms. Aginaga, don't you like us anymore? That was so terrible. That, yes, really, like, I'm not kidding. Like, they were crying, and I was just like, and now I still get emotional, like, thinking about it. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but like, I even saved most of the videos of the stuff that I made with them. Because I mean, I directed them, you know, at 4 different, you know, elementary schools. And I had videos of the stuff we produced together, helped get them a grant for musical instruments. But I had no sovereignty, you know, working for, you guessed it, the stupid government. And when you realize that they're shoving so much propaganda down these kids' throats, and I know I shouldn't just say that because, Jem, you and I were laughing over like what some Bitcoin maximalist called propaganda to me the other day, which is that I know. One of these days we're going to make some content about that.
Yes.
That was so freaking hilarious. But, you know, I mean, like, even like, you know, learning about the history of school systems and how they're actually designed to turn kids into little robots, into little NPCs. It's just like, and what do I think? That I'm just, and like, but I was a rebel rouser because I was giving them a concert and they hadn't had one in 12 years in this school district. Wow, that's so rebelistic. I mean, like, but I mean, to be fair, I know I was causing problems. I mean, the kids were pounding on the lunch tables, we will rock you. Just like Queen. I mean, even when I wasn't around. So you know what? Yeah, I guess I was causing a fucking problem, right? So was that it? Or was, and then we don't need to go into too many details about that, but I regret not, I'm yelling, but I regret not standing up for myself. But there was no sovereignty. I always had to ask permission, you know, to write a grant, permission to have a concert, permission. You know, I mean, like, it was just like, and I set up a Google Classroom and they're like, oh my God, you're setting up a Google Classroom for the kids. And I'm like, it's the 21st century. Why do you think that this is so weird? You know, I mean, so it's just like, I was like, you know what? It's just public schools. That's it. So then I start going into sales because what can be wrong with corporate sales? Oh my God, a better question might be, what isn't wrong with working in corporate sales? The amount of deception that management wants you to be. In some of these cases, I worked for some beautiful big wireless companies, and they're not all that way, right? I mean, some of them, you know, they do encourage you to be honest with the customers, but the ones where they actually want you to be honest with the customers are structured like MLMs. And you would think, Jem, that the moment that I just said, fuck this, I'm going to be sovereign, was when on Christmas, I got a phone call. By the way, Merry Christmas, you're fired. I'm not even kidding. Like, I was having Christmas dinner and he's like, you know, I mean, we're moving out of this whole office scenario, but what we'd really love for you to do is just go door to door and just work off of commission. And I'm like, that is not what I signed up for. You know, they said, but we're just going to fire you from working in the retail area because, you know, because we were doing more retail type of sales. It is retail when you're working and you're doing cell phones. But I was like, well, I mean, it's still retail when you're going door to door. But I was just like, no, you guys, you don't understand. I have done door to door sales. It is not a safe gig. I mean, do you know how many times I've had the cops called on me? I mean, like seriously. I mean, and some of these people, they're crazy and they're super on something when you go to their house. Like some of these people, you're afraid to go in their homes, right? So, I mean, like, so it was lack of safety that caused me to go into corporate sales, even only to realize there's no emotional safety. And even also the thing with public school one of the reasons why I also had no problems leaving is because there was more than one instance where things got kind of violent. There was one time where, you know, we were locked down because somebody decided to, you know, stab somebody like right, you know, into the park right next door. So we were on lockdown for a couple of hours. I mean, like there was, you know, I mean, of course it's America. We have gun violence sometimes. I mean, luckily none of that happened to me, but there was a couple of the schools that I worked at where that also, I mean, you know, people were actually killed on days that I wasn't there. And I was like, you know, I mean, but I was just like, you know, I don't need to go back to that profession. It's not safe. I don't need to be doing door-to-door sales anymore because that's not safe. So I'm like, let's go to corporate sales. Yeah, corporate sales, even with like, there's physical safety, then there's lots of levels of safety, but there's no emotional safety. But part of having sovereignty allows you to make choices so that you can have more safety in your life. I mean, and was it the last, but I do think it got to the point where being in the Web3 space, which was supposed to be different. And I think after the last time, you know, that that this happened where I got thrown around by someone who had way too much access to everything that I had been, you know, to everyone that I had been, you know, building towards. And, you know, everything just got to a point where, I mean, like when I think that happened, it wasn't until that happened, you know, because I was just like, I thought things would be different. I'm sorry if I'm not sorry, I'm American, but I think it just got to that point where I was like, I need to have something just for me, not connected to another, like, you know, something that no matter what, if something happens to somebody else, if they die or if they screw me over, it's fine. That doesn't mean I'll never trust anyone again. But right now, I'm not concerned with how much I can trust somebody else. So sovereignty, it's also about trusting who? Yourself. You know what I'm talking about, but can you trust yourself? Can you even learn to cultivate that if you are not living a life that is not sovereign? I ask you to examine that, Gems. Because you have been a business owner for quite some time now. Your journey with group homes and this and that, they're like, you went into entrepreneurial pursuits very early on in life, which led you to BBWCM, your seller brand. Well, it's not just your seller brand. That's your business essentially. And you're sovereign. Carry on. I'm talking too much.
You're not talking too much. You're making perfect sense. You see, like,
yeah.
When, you know, you're much older than me, right? By like, what is it? Like
I am
400 years or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'm 1,000 years older than you.
So like,
I'm a vampire.
When you were a young vampire, right?
Right, when I was a young grasshopper.
Yeah, when you were a young grasshopper, you remember like, what's the one thing that you can say stayed the same from that childhood vision to now? Like, and like that's what I looked at in the sovereignty, like, because we don't.
Oh wait, I mean, like, Gems, like the commenter has a point there. Like, if you keep vaping on screen, you're going to get banned from YouTube.
Thank you for reminding me.
No. I mean, it's just like a friendly reminder. Like, I've not been looking at you on screen the whole time, so I haven't noticed. But like, no, I don't want you to get banned from YouTube. So yeah, let's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, it's more very much keeping that vision alive. Like right now, last summer, I built a garden because I could. I didn't need to put in a permit. I didn't need to do any art.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You know, like it's like building a garden. You know, if you build a garden downtown in the city, it's a lot harder. You build it in the country, it's a lot easier. But like, I just don't want to care about that. And it's not even about like, oh yes, of course, there's the other words, this. Right now, we're working on the shed.
Yeah, your audio is a little. Sorry.
Yes. So we're working on the shed.
Okay, that's so much better. Yeah, carry on. Now we can't hear you. I don't know what happened, Jem. Jem, can't hear you. Oh, just a second. There we go.
I picked up my mic and then I just unplugged myself.
Yeah, that's okay.
So it's very well how you're saying it. Like it every step of your story, right, is being blocked to teach kids sovereignty because sovereignty is kind of
Because sovereignty is what?
a negative thing or looked at by a lot of people. And it doesn't even look at it as a negative thing. It's so interpretable that a lot of people misinterpret other people's versions of it. Does that make kind of sense? And so
can you, I mean, you don't need to ask if it makes sense. Just elaborate a little bit more because I want to hear more. I feel like there's more to unpack with what you said. Yeah.
When someone wants to build a sovereign business and they think, okay, I want to sell prompt packets. You could sell that in a lot of ways, Red. No.
I know. I'll get on other platforms today. I promise you, Jam.
And when it comes to that, why for me, it's just, but it's like sovereignty is like almost like creativity. Like when it's put in the prompt package, I think, okay, why don't you just print out a little library and then you sell those in e-commerce? Not saying this is something you should do, but saying you did all these different things.
You're cutting out a little bit.
So say you printed all of these prompt packets out and then you sold them on various different e-commerce platforms. Or you did a digital print and a digital copy. You did all of these things. You made an NFT with the text inside that works in the AI, right?
Yeah. One of them is actually, I'm going to start releasing them as NFTs for the crowd that understands the value. Carry on.
And you know all these different things, right? And you know, it's just getting rid of the blockade is for me showing people that the blockade may be there, that's stopping you from all these emitters, like you said. It's just the fact that you can ignore them without hurting people, and you can ignore them. It's like almost like gray areas in the world. It's like a sovereign gray area. So like when I see like these different like these archives of transcripts from these Web3 creator spaces, it's kind of like the table of contents. You know, when you work on when you teach someone something, you give them a brief 5 chapters.
It's cutting out pretty bad.
Pretty bad, damn. So
maybe it's just when you're far from the mic, it doesn't like it. I think that's what it is. Like you have to just be closer to the mic. Yeah, 100%. Carry on.
This better?
Oh my God, so much better.
There we go.
Yeah.
So a lot of the schools are failing, and a lot of people don't know where the fundamentals are in self-sovereignty and business and self-sufficiency and like just all of those things
getting worse.
Together.
The audio just okay. Yeah. Sorry, not sorry because I'm American. Carry on.
No, let me check something for you.
Okay, no worries. We're like honestly, like I'm having a blast. This is our first stream.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. But there is some weird background noise all of a sudden.
Okay. Yeah, this is our first silly stream. We're still figuring it out. I'm still figuring it out, at least. It's been almost 3 years since I did something like this.
No, is it just you're using your laptop or where do you connect it to?
I'm connected to this.
Okay, well, is that connected to is that connected to an interface, bro? Like this? That's what you need. Like have an interface and then connect to USB. Like mine actually is fine right now. I probably should start streaming with a nice. I have nice equipment. I don't know why I'm not using it.
You know what? The next time anyone sees us up here, Red, they're just gonna have to remember the first episode being like so raw and uncut, and then the next one just being super professional, like it never happened.
Oh, you know what? Professional. There's a voiceover artist that I love dearly. And she always says, "What the fuck does professional mean? It means doing your job." You know, I mean, like no matter what, even as we progress, like things are still gonna not
professionals. Professionals, us showing up at 4.
Yes, and no matter what, we're gonna evolve. We're gonna get better, at what we do. But like nothing's gonna be like, oh, squeaky clean, perfect all the time. For me, this is like leaps and bounds improvement from like when I first started streaming. I mean, to go off topic, but I left all the old streams up because I wanted to show, well, except for the one where I accidentally left the camera on for 8 hours. I did like delete that because I was like, who knows? I mean, like, I don't need people like, watching me do silly everyday things. But other than that, I leave everything up because I want people to see, like, you know what? This is a process. Everything is not like squeaky clean, perfect all the time. It never really is. Perfection is an illusion, even though accuracy is real. So I think it's important for people to just see that, people take a journey. And that's that. Okay, so show comments on the stage. I don't know.
I just found that.
I just put the comments on the stage right now. Oh my God, I just learned that. Okay, so Chet DePaul says a couple of interesting things here. Oh my God, now I can't. It says show. When the people don't have an understanding. Oh, this is great. We're learning from chat right now. Look, she says, when the people don't have an understanding of what sovereignty is, they have fear. Oh my God. She just nailed it right there. That is because the educational system, yeah, she understands the history. We're set in place to make kids dumb. And here I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to make a difference in the lives of the children. No, I'm going to leave them fucking sad. Yeah, I made a difference. I made them cry when I left. Yay.
If it helps, I did the same thing you were talking about earlier when they were chanting, we will
rock you.
All the way up until 6th grade, and then I stopped going.
Okay, we're going to show some other comments here because I feel like, Chet had some amazing comments today. LMAO, I don't know, like, yeah, but like, okay, but I want to highlight this one comment here because this has a lot to do with why you would choose to be sovereign. And yes, critical thinking is a part of it. Let's get into that. And then we're going to talk about critical feeling. A new term I just created today. But I'm not original and somebody else has clearly already thought of it. Like the comment on the stage again, I'm trying to show it here. Okay, so the powers that be wanted generation of workers so no one would critically think. I think it's a little deeper than that. I don't think it's just about critical thinking, because another way to teach people how to critically think is how to get them to critically feel. But if you can sell people things to get them to disconnect from how they feel, then it's easier to control how they think. Oh, did I just go there? I just went there, didn't I? Absolutely. Critical thinking, like some people like to misinterpret what that means. I mean, getting someone to critically think, that's the reason why, I told you this is what we're doing the stream about today in this fashion with this question, right? Some people get it confused and think, I'm just going to make like this very vague, thing that is so fucking coded and so full of mysteries that nobody can understand what the fuck I'm talking about. And nobody's going to know where I stand. No, what you're teaching people, someone who's thinking critically, when you post statements that are just so ambiguous and so loaded with everything being a puzzle, you're actually teaching someone like me that what you're trying to do is cause cognitive dissonance when you present information like that, right? So I do think that, and then somebody's going to critically feel that you are a person they can't trust, and they are going to critically think about trusting you again when you behave in that manner. But if you want to not spoon feed someone and get them to actually do some research, how do you do that? With a question. Because sometimes, Jem, you've seen me in spaces where I'll go off on people because sometimes I need to. You've seen it.
I love it.
I know you do. You love it when I shut down a room full of like people that are just full of you know what. But sometimes I think it's important if you really want someone to really think and make them feel like it's okay to really think and really feel, you want to pose things with a question. Like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Have you looked into this? Have you looked into that? But don't like just make these loaded like word salad, statements that are just so full of like little mysteries to solve that nobody knows what you're talking about. And if you ask questions, then what does that lead to? More questions for clarification. And it's also helping people be in touch with how they feel. I mean, like emotion has become like this bad word and rah, rah, rah. But like, it's not like a bad thing. It's how you direct it, just like anything else. I have spoken many times about Victor Wooten, who is a Grammy Award-winning bass player. And what does he define emotion in his book, The Music Lesson? He just said, it's just energy in motion. And if you can convince someone, if you can brainwash them to be out of touch with how to move their energy in motion, you're putting a brake on how they feel. And if you can put a brake and you can control how they feel, you can control them to not think, to not critically think. So we need to also, like this, I just created a new fucking statement right now. Critical feeling. Fucking wake up to your feelings. They're teaching you how to think, motherfucker. All right, enough of me just going off on rants, but it was really Chet. Something about her little statement in here just really just inspired me to go off on a rant. And Jem, if you would like to add to that, cool, because I know that you use your emotions as power and you combine it with your intellect all day long. You're a real smart man.
I am just a frog at the end of the day.
Stop it with the false Canadian humility. You literally just told me you were cooler than me like an hour ago because you're Canadian and an American. Carry on.
Well, I can be cooler and dumber than you.
You're not.
That's the power of freedom.
Oh, you fucking troll. Carry on.
Am I a troll, or even the trolls are right? Like, I think what Chet, like, as I was a little silent there, listening there, I was making a robot about Chet. And, Chet is...
Chet's right on the money today. She's on fire with her comments.
She is.
Ooh, look at what Chet just said. Did you want to address what Chet just said in the comments here? She says, you have to observe yourself in the third person. I mean, I've heard this before, right? But would love to hear your take on this, because this is certainly not a new take. Yeah.
Myself in the third person.
Yeah.
I have to say,
your audio.
A teacher.
Oh, you're a teacher?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm horrified.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little PTSD when you say that.
And not in the way you think. Like,
Carry on.
one thing you'll notice about everything I post is that it's archived and it's there for anyone to see for the rest of time.
Audio?
One thing you will notice about how I post on all of my accounts on X is it's I archive everything.
Yeah.
And whenever you type BBWCM into Chrome, you can add it to anything. So, like, when I say anything, why I say it so cryptic and brief is not because I want it to be. It's just because I don't know how else do you say you can put anything into anything and get the result that you want to see, other than physically doing that with whatever you say. Like, oh, for me, it's my emotions. I have autism, so I don't pay attention to how I face react or what my face looks like or the varieties of it or like how my body portrays.
Sorry, it's hard to hear you. Yeah.
All I portray is like myself, you know? And like whatever I put out there is whatever I put out there. I'm not really trying to put anything out there other than the truth.
The truth.
And it's not really like I'm not going out of my way saying you guys need to hear this right now. Nah, it's more of just like fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact in life, but it's kind of like how you always apologize for.
You think I apologize too much still?
Even as a Canadian, as a Canadian, I don't know. I think no one has nothing to be sorry for if you don't mean it with malintent.
Can't hear you.
I think you shouldn't have anything to be sorry for if you didn't mean it with malintent.
I'm really having a hard time hearing you. It's gotten really bad.
It's gotten really bad. What about now?
Okay, that's better. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So as long as you ain't got malintent, I think you're Gucci. Like, I know there's a lot of history books that say it in different elsewise, but they also didn't have the tools we have now.
Wait, what do the history books say differently? I missed that.
In the fact that there can't just be one main teacher.
But there isn't.
There isn't.
No, there isn't.
But there are. What is science?
Science still has a lot of branches of science.
But as a whole, what is it? It's just a big factual teacher. It's like a pillar.
I mean, yes, fair enough. But I'm trying to understand what you're going, what direction you're going with this.
So when I think about like the energy I put out there, and like when I think of myself in third person, I don't really ever think like that. It's more of not in the sense that I don't go out of my way to think of myself in different perspectives, but more in the sense of once you got your mind set on something and loop it back to the sovereignty, I find it's very easy to get lost in the different loops. Oh.
Loops of what?
Like different categories, like how it is with science. And
well, I'm a little bit confused. Getting lost. Okay, you're saying loops like science, but loops of what in sovereignty with business as compared to science? That's where I'm not understanding.
Psychology.
Okay.
If you look at psychology and science, I find a lot of people worry about being tricked with themselves.
They worry about tricking themselves or others tricking them?
Both.
Yeah. That's
so
real.
When it comes to that, it's there's only really one way to think of yourself, I find. Maybe I misunderstood the question.
No. I mean, like, I'm not understanding because, I mean, we're talking about getting lost in loops. I don't know I don't know what we're talking about. And then, like, I'm just confused, but like with science, but yes, it's supposed to point to the truth, right? So should any type of research point to the truth. Does it always? No. Do people falsify information all the fucking time? We know this. So that's why it's really important to not just do real research, but like to really kind of like feel things out to where to get answers. Because yes, I mean, like, that I've been very adamant about promoting God Mode AI by Pliny the Liberator. because of the techniques where it goes past these filters, past censorship, so that you can actually get to all of the research. I mean, and that's part of it. But then there are certain things that are not necessarily publicly posted. There are certain things that you have to find out by researching, by being around the people that are really on the, I don't even want to say the up and up, but the people who are actually like doing the work, doing the stuff, because not everything's posted right away. Not everything's documented right away. And some things that are posted privately or that are private are not necessarily even public records. So it's kind of understanding how to dig in that way too, and understanding relationships of power, you know, in order to get to those right situations, to be able to really understand that. But also this kind of goes back to something I said earlier. I mean, it's not always just about like, you know, finding facts, because it's like, if we know in science, even though it's supposed to be the truth, and there's a lot of folks out there, you know, doing pseudoscience bullshit. Yeah. We know that happens. They're, you know, I mean, anyone can falsify claims. But even before, a lot of times I'm able to, you know, confirm something through actual, you know, research by looking up numbers and things like that. You start to feel like something is wrong emotionally before you know it intellectually, before you can prove it, you know, through looking at different numbers. You start to be able to recognize patterns and be like, this number can't be right because I know about how this X, Y, and Z process is supposed to work. These people are scamming. But that takes recognizing the process to know it. But even sometimes before someone is scamming, and before you're even able to look at a chart to know that there's something wrong. Let's be real. If you know those people, you already felt that something was wrong before the numbers told you. I've been in rooms with people and it's like, they're kind of just poking at me in a way, and like, yeah, I'll go and verify something. And just the other day I had to go and verify some stuff because it was really just kind of messing with me. But I actually know, I actually felt like something was really wrong with some of the way that I was feeling, the way I was being talked to. And yeah, of course, you know, looking, you know, going up and verifying, you know, we don't just trust, right? We verify. I mean, sure, it verified it and we should always verify, but it was like, I already knew something was wrong with what was being said to me without looking at any fucking numbers, without asking 55 different AI jailbroken models. I already knew something was wrong. And while research is a great tool, and we should absolutely do it, if we want to teach people to be sovereign, part of that is learning how to not critically just think, but critically feel, right? Because while research is great, you can't research everything all day long. You'll never, I mean, like, you're going to not be efficient at a certain point. Literally, one of the things about sovereignty that is a hard thing that I had to realize, and I know you realize this too, being in BBWCM, there's more accountability, right? And accountability is part of liberty. It's part of like understanding like the consequences of your actions. If you fuck with the wrong people, it's literally, it can be life or death for you, not just in business, but in life. So it's just like, are we really going to research every single time we think so-and-so might be a criminal? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, if something kind of felt off about so-and-so, like, do we have the time to like research every little thing that they did? I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm not saying don't do it at all. But it's like, if you feel like something is wrong, even before the research proves it, if you feel like something is wrong before the research proves it, then you feel what you already are going to know to be true in a minute. And you might as well be efficient with your time and maybe use that energy to research something that's going to be a better use of your time. Because sometimes curiosity kills the cat. Because sometimes you just need to end right there and not follow that path. Jam, I want to hear what you got on the board.
You want to see what's on the board?
I do. Yeah. What's on the, oh, he turned the camera off for a minute there.
You see that? What does that say?
It says the arrows don't lie. Follow the, is it going to say hidden gems?
No, it just says the arrows don't lie. Follow them. Now follow the arrows that I put on that board. The arrows lie. Don't follow them.
Oh, wait, the arrows. Did you just make this up right now? The arrows don't lie. Follow them.
And then we got the. Oh. Arrows. This is weird. Arrows don't lie. Now, what I'm trying to say here.
What are we trying to say here?
Is that the more we follow these direct paths of these people of all types of places, beings, the more likely we're just going to fall right into that same cycle. You know?
So you're making a satirical message right now?
No.
Not?
A little bit of both.
Yes, exactly. You could
But
be
it's always it's a little bit of both of always, you know. But you know, Sovereign Chat is saying.
Sorry, having trouble hearing you again.
Chat is saying it perfectly.
Oh, which one? We are claiming we are breathing, but we're not alive. Is that the one? She says, sovereignty is a stance. It is your label. Right now, all of us in the U.S. are still connected. Chattel. What do you think of what she just said right there? Or am I saying wrong by being liberty?
I think sovereignty is a mind, like something you program into your mind, like guidance.
You program it into your own mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do. You have to. Otherwise, you're not sovereign. You're expendable to someone else.
Exactly.
Whenever they feel like, and it's not always necessarily mean they're a bad person. Yeah, it doesn't mean they're necessarily a bad person. Sometimes, you know, I mean, like for their own purposes, for whatever it is, for their business, they can't afford to have you on. This is not about like saying that they're not morally, you know, good people. You know, it's just like, but the reality is because you're underneath them, you're expendable. Yeah. I don't want to spend any more time in the trash can.
No. No more trash food for me.
No, none of that. But like when you were saying the arrows don't lie, you said you were being literal, but also being kind of satirical. Please elaborate. Oh, she's Chattel. I guess I was saying it wrong. I like this other statement. She says, we have to claim that we are breathing beings and that we are alive. Is that kind of related to what you said?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's kind of, it's almost more than a culture.
It's way more than culture.
Yeah.
That's like that was the whole point. Like when I told you, remember I said what I wanted to start doing for the streams. This isn't just about a culture. It's not just like a regular whatever. I wanted people to really dive into like the history of human rights, because at the core of everything we talk about is going to be human rights, right? There's going to be days where, yeah, sometimes that's going to mean we focus more on AI, we focus more on crypto, we focus more on people like Afro Man, who won a case due to like First Amendment. But whatever that has to do, like our humanity is at the core of what we talk about on Citizen Glitch. It's, you know, it's literally, that's what this is. So this isn't just a culture. Humanity is at the core, and culture will imitate whatever becomes acceptable. And that doesn't necessarily mean helping people increase their humanity. A lot of times it's ways to help people get more out of touch with their humanity, because when they're out of touch with their humanity, as I said before, and their ability to feel, it is so much easier to control how they think. And there won't be any critical thinking, because there won't be any feelings. I know I sound so creepy right now, but you know. Are you going all Matrix on me now, Jem?
Honestly, that was one of the most baller things I've heard you say.
Jem, when am I not baller? After getting, fired so many times. And, I've been homeless too, right? Like, it don't matter anymore. Like, it matters as in, like, what we do matters. You and I have talked about this. The reason why we talk about the humanity is because that's what should be driving everything. Here's the frog. He's ribbit. Like, you've gone through some experiences lately. I don't know if you want to talk to the audience about them. I've been through some things that I don't necessarily want to always talk about. I don't mind being, vulnerable about some things because it helps other people feel safe. But there's other things where I don't mind being private about, because privacy's a right, a human fucking right. Oh my God. What a coinky dink, right? Well, it's not a coincidence. I don't know why I'm saying that, but like, wow, what a concept is what I really like meant to say. But like, for you and I, we both discussed earlier, prior to the stream, that we have a more acute awareness of our immortality. And when you have a more acute awareness of your immortality, you're probably going to start living differently. You're probably going to live and want to pursue a life with all of these values: sovereignty, liberty, privacy, security, freedom. Because you're now at a point where if you don't establish sovereignty, that they've got you walking around like a zombie. You're an NPC. Your life isn't your own. I'm not afraid to die. I'm just afraid the fear that I have is like, am I really living the way I'm supposed to? And if I'm not living the way I'm supposed to, it doesn't matter. It's not about legacy. We talked about this. Because the planet Earth is going to die eventually. All of this is going to die eventually. But what's never going to die is the frequency that we inject by the choices that we make. And we can build technologies that help people become more empowered, that help people actually discover their humanity to be better. I don't think that, technology shouldn't just be about making our lives easier. It has the ability to make our lives more sovereign. As I said before, I really should have found that tweet from Joel about his basic privacy, and sovereignty pack of things that he uses. And people are so afraid sometimes to like talk about a product. It's like, well, let me just talk about an idea. And it's like, well, but your idea is your product. And if an idea doesn't back a product, well, what is it then? If you're not, I'm not saying that every idea has to be connected to a product. It's not always. Everything isn't about that. But sometimes, the product of the idea is your psyche, is how you think of yourself. It chooses your ability to be an aware, a conscious consumer, or just somebody who's just consuming things to avoid feeling certain ways, to avoid facing certain truths that are not good. So the more you can just be kind of like awake with your humanity, then you would make better choices about the products you use and the products you don't use. So when we're talking about ideas, the way that you think is going to affect where you put your energy And money's energy. Not using money as energy. To create is energy. To not, to speak is energy. To not is it's a conscious choice. All of these things, and I would love to hear your take on this. And I love your frog. Yeah.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Am I completely? Did I just go completely into esoteric autism land?
No. Oh, I do have an idea of what you're talking about. I meant there's no frog in sight on my screen. I'm thinking like it's all about pain. Every time you kept bringing up satirical attention, I butchered the pronunciation. All I'm thinking about is sovereignty is paying attention to the little things. And like that kept ringing through my head. And that's what I was like, message. I had to write that backwards and upside down. But I wrote it.
Yeah.
And sovereignty is very much paying attention to the little things in freedom. Like, how can you enjoy your small fishing boat or your big yacht if you don't?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
How can you enjoy your fishing boat or your big yacht if you don't know anything about it? Like, inevitably, you're just gonna get bored. And because you overlooked those little things and blindsided yourself by the time you got to the finish line. I'm sure you got there, but it's
having a hard time hearing you. I don't know if it's just because you get quiet sometimes.
Nah, it's because I just stopped talking in the middle of my sentences.
Okay, no worries.
It's seeing what Chet's saying, and that's badly.
Chet has been just dropping so much truth today and adding to the convo.
I don't really. It's
awesome. Like it makes me happy. We're reaching the right people.
And we might not have it all aligned, and we might both be saying it not. We might be both on two different pages but in the same book right now, but we get in there.
It's okay. It's okay. Like if you're on a different page than me sometimes, and if I don't get it, I'm gonna ask you to help me get there.
Exactly, and likewise.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, I think it's very much. It's like an art. It's an art form. 100% art form.
What
Sovereignty
is an art form? Dude, tweet that. I will retweet you. Oh my God, that was beautiful. You can make some whole content about that. That is true.
Red, I have all the bookshelves behind me.
I know. I love that though. I mean, like,
I got the data archives, and then we got the written archives, and then we got the printed archives, we got the frogs.
But you prove that's why, as artists, we're so dangerous.
Exactly. Now you're getting that.
And that's why people try to keep us to think that what we do as artists isn't important because we are dangerous.
And like Chet just said, art is our creativity. And what is creativity?
Yes, I love that. Okay.
Like I said, call my auntie. Do they think you're my aunt, Red?
No. I mean, like, she is, but I just don't have her contact information. But I mean, we can deal with that after the stream, but I literally don't have her contact information.
I have no clue.
No. It's cool. It's cool.
Let's see.
I don't know if you're speaking quietly or just pausing.
I'm trying to think. For you, Red.
Yeah.
Like with school, the whole thing about school and jobs.
Yeah.
School gives you a job. Right?
I wished I never went to college.
I'm glad.
I mean, like, yes and no. Like, I say I don't regret any of my past choices because no matter what, there's no such thing as a perfect choice. Perfection is an illusion. Every choice we make is meant to shape us and to make a different choice after having that information. It was research into what I didn't want to do with the rest of my life. We'll just think of it as a great research experiment that went terribly wrong. We'll just say that. But I'm sorry, what was your question? Sorry, I just went full-blown autistic on you right there.
That's okay. See, right now, I'm getting used to the screaming overstimulation. Like, I see myself, I'm like I've been that, like, you, every time you've been seeing me dazed off, it's not because, well, obviously I'm paying attention. I'm just, like, used to, I have a frog on my head now. And, like, there's the messages. There's, like, 7 of me on my screen over here. And I got, like, oh, it's an art form. Indoctrinated, yes.
No, it is an art form, right? Because even though, you know, creativity, as you know, there's a dichotomy to it, right? No one's really controlling you when it's something that you're creating, but there also is a level of surrender. There's a level of just being in a flow state and just allowing different channels to move through you. Like when I create, I'm not like giving up my free will. It's not like that, but it's not necessarily like, oh, there's still a level of independent thought that even allows you to get in a space where you're, oh God, it all comes down to the stupid fucking thing I keep saying, which is critical feeling. My new fucking marketing statement for this. Because, intuition isn't just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be around so-and-so because they make me feel like throwing up, right? Intuition is also like feeling where things work without necessarily logically, trying to account for every little thing. I mean, there is a time and a place for that, of course. It's all, useful. It's another side of the brain and it's beautiful. But there is a point to where we just have to kind of let go and kind of trust whatever is coming through, whatever transmission is coming through, but trust that that is something that's going to be, creative. And what I mean by creative is, I know I'm being a little bit ridiculous here in my explanations, but creative as in an energy that is creating something better for something, someone, for yourself, right? Because some people would say that there's a creativity to that which is destructive, but I feel like that kind of goes completely against what creativity really was intended for. I mean, yeah, somebody can say, oh, well, I can creatively manipulate you and cause cognitive dissonance, but really, no, it's just like, no, I mean, I really think that's not a great way to say it. It's not creative. You were destructive. You were calculating. You were manipulative. And, and it was all about control. You didn't let go of anything. And your intent was to control someone else, was to hurt someone else, was to hurt a group of people. When you're in a place of like real creativity, as Tori Amos has said, I think she said her grandfather, who was an American Indian, said, and you'll love this because you're a Canadian Indian. He said that creation is the only way to combat destruction. And the lack of sovereignty wants to destroy you. Because if you are in a place of creating, if you are in a place of intuition, if you are in a place of trusting yourself, you think more clearly and you feel more clearly. And it's an art form because it's creating. You are literally you are moving with a different energy where you're building, your, as they love to say, I know it sounds very wow rah, but raising the frequency. Anyhow, I'm yapping a little much and I shouldn't be apologizing, but like Jem, if you have to go, it has been an amazing stream.
I'm good to finish up whenever you are. I'm watching my cat jump into a fish tank.
Oh, your cat. Do you want to bring him on the stage? And college is a place to become indoctrinated. I know. I went. One of the worst choices ever, but that's okay. I learned how.
This is Oscar.
Hi, Oscar. Welcome. Oh,
He is one of the first sovereign citizens of BBWCM.
Yeah, you're the eBay. You sell a lot of products on eBay.
He's unneutered.
He's
still
okay.
He's still sovereign, not for long though.
Oh.
You know,
yeah.
Very. How do you put it? He's his own person. His name's Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar the Grouch. Because Oscar the Grouch is his own person.
Mm-hmm.
That's Jack, and then we'll get Jax on here, the killer.
Yeah. But with everything, carry on.
He's one of the vicious ones, but he's a Maine Coon. And honestly, I don't know. I'm a big cat person.
I know you are. Some of the best people are. You already know that.
Exactly.
Huh?
Exactly. Some of the best ones are.
No. Some of the best people are cat people. Fair enough. I also love. I love dogs, of course, but there's lovely cats. They're both really lovely, and honestly, ideal is a cat and a dog growing up together. It's the cutest.
I had a golden retriever.
Yeah.
Bear.
Yeah.
And they were the Jackson Bear only homies. We would have witnesses occur. Bad leaders extinguished for hurting their people. This is happening all over the world. So we can talk about so that we can all walk into our sovereignty. Did you know I'm dyslexic?
I'm like sick. I'm kidding. It's a bad joke. No, I didn't know that you were dyslexic, but it's all good, Jem.
I enjoy reading out loud either way. I like putting people through it with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not in a bad way. But I think that question, that tells me leaders. It's the same reason why Trump's trying to run for a third term.
You're cutting out.
It's like one of the same reasons Trump's running for a third term. Or wanting to. That statement right there. But if we find a really good leader, right? Let's say one that grows every 4 years of change. Grows for you.
Yeah, I'm having a really hard time hearing you.
Yeah. Okay, we should be good. Say
100%.
We found a leader that works with change. Do we keep that person there for the rest of the time, or do we want to burn the bridges? It really just comes down to the people. The leader serves the people, but the people aren't really being served by the leader.
Yeah. But this is like the whole. Now we're kind of there's a lot of background noise. Okay, but now we're kind of segueing into a whole different topic. We've been wow, this has been a really nice, long, amazing first stream. But now we're kind of segueing into a whole nother topic. Which is good because this makes me feel like maybe we should plan where this whole other topic is going, because if we start talking about leaders and leadership, does this mean we're going to talk about decentralization next week? or we're going to talk about, or are we going to
Welcome to the Crypto Daily Monday broadcast.
Oh, crypto. Yes. No.
Every Monday, we have our new co-hosts here and our 24 ambassadors, all unpaid. Paid ambassadors.
No, but I mean, this is a whole nother, like, but this becomes into a whole nother topic when we talk about the distribution of power, right? Because sovereignty is great, but also systems that don't scale to allow a number of people to carry out their lives in ways that is beneficial for people, right? Without having some amount of centralized power, just making things more efficient and more scalable, right? One of my heroes, Justin Bonds, he hammers it into the ground about scalability and accessibility. I mean, and I know you follow him as well. I mean, but like, so when it comes to, decentralization, it is a spectrum. But I will agree that when, something he talks about is like people who think like, if everyone's running around or just a few people are running around with Raspberry Pis, that's sovereignty or that's decentralization. No, it's not, because it's not actually able to be accessible to a lot of people. So if we're talking about just, forms of power where there is another buzzword, governance. Oh my God. We've turned this into now we're starting to get into a crypto discussion, right? But that's kind of like, we wanted to eventually start to go there, but people have to understand like where we're coming from first, right? And so when you're talking about, leaders, I mean, part of the things that leaders should be doing is, if they have a protocol, a product or whatever, is actually trying to make that as accessible to as many people as possible. But the whole thing about sovereignty, about all of these things, is not allowing just one group of people, or one small group of people, or one person to pull the plug on you. That there is a balance of power, that there's governance. But we are like in a whole nother conversation right now. And Jem, does this mean we need to have our next stream be a little bit more about crypto? And not just crypto. We can talk a little bit more about some of the decisions that Trump has made regarding crypto, because one thing I have said until I was blue in the face, and you've heard me, you've heard people try to farm different answers out of me. You've been there. Love him or hate him, whatever you think about Trump, you have to acknowledge, the movement that he has had in the crypto space, the influence that he's had in the crypto space, if you want to live in reality, straight up. And I mean, and I don't want to necessarily turn it into a place where people are arguing and this and that, but like, I would like to have a stream where we can kind of like talk about, legislation and leaders and how it does affect this technology. And, and I don't want to say remove your emotions. That's like one of the dumbest, stupidest things that people say. But like I said before, there is a time to kind of like hold those emotions in a cup. Don't let them explode, but just hold them and breathe and examine what's around you so that you can see the truth more clearly. Because I think that we do need to, because I don't think this is necessarily only a conversation about crypto. I think this is a deeper conversation, but I do think we need to bring crypto into that next conversation. And I think we're going to end up just going there. Jem, thank you for doing this today. Appreciate you so very much.
Appreciate you, Red.
Yeah,
Red Queen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a whole nother story behind that, but I think we're good for now. Like, I am getting kind of hungry, and then I'm not always a fun person to be around. But like, is there anything else you want to like maybe put in the comments about BBWCM so people can find your stuff? Because I'll certainly link in the comments, my AI products for now, and we'll have them accessible. Oh my God, there goes that word again. Accessible to more people and be able to pay in more forms, including crypto, because WAP allows people to pay for products with crypto. And right now I'm just on Gumroad and people can only pay in fiat. Okay, and that's very like not me, but you know, I had to get the ball rolling, right? You can't just like have everything. I had to get started. But anyhow, that's enough about me. Is there anything else you want people to know about you besides Ribbit before we kind of like we strategize? You know, where we're gonna go with the next question that we're gonna ask people next time we come on, and you know, with more notice, we'll have more people coming to join the conversation. Next time, this was just a little bit last minute because I decided to stay up till 4 a.m. making the promo video for this. And so, yeah, we'll have more notice next time. But yeah, I think this is a good point for us to kind of like regroup and kind of like decide what question that we're going to open with to help people critically think and critically feel for our next episode of Citizen Glitch.
Absolutely. If I'll leave you with this, I'll leave you with this one thing.
Okay, appreciate it.
Put anything throughout the stream with the term Red Alert or BBWCM or Hidden Gems.
Yeah.
Into Gronk specifically. And you will find every little bit of info transpacked into a script.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's all. That's all.
Nice.
Right now, I've been just focused on my physical stuff, which promotes itself.
All right, and I'll sing out the theme song for today, which will change over time, just kind of like Outlander, and I'll be singing other things and well, whatever. I don't need to talk about everything we're going to be doing in the future because obviously, since I'm a musician, we'll hook some other things up. But you know, sometimes you just got to start simple. Even though there's a lot of complex nuances to everything, sometimes you just got to get started, right?
Exactly.
Ooh, is it okay? Did you have any? Does the frog want to say anything else before I sing us out?
Stay strong.
Aww. Should we end with that, or is that what you? Is that how you'd like to end with? Just saying, "Stay strong," or we end with a song? Oh yeah, okay. I'll sing. Good night, Gems.
Good night.
Stay a good citizen. Stay a citizen glitch.